Prison officer shot dead by a former inmate. So, people, the defendant was found guilty on Friday of last week, and I have been meaning to do a video on this, and this is the first chance of getting round to doing it, because I did have to have a look over a lot of the details again to make sure that everything that I say is 100% true, or to the best of me knowledge, or the best of the knowledge that's online. So, the defendant is Elias Morgan, and he has been found guilty of the murder of the father of three, Lenny Scott, outside of a gym in Skelmersdale, Lancashire, on the 8th of February 2024. Now, the gunman who is Lenny Scott, or who has been found guilty of it, unloaded 6 shots into Lenny Scott outside the gym. So there was no mistaking that this was a murder. Obviously, unloading 6 shots, he was making sure that that prison officer was dead. Now, this goes back to something, or an altercation that happened in HMP Altcourse, which is in Liverpool. And Elias Morgan was in a relationship, or so-called relationship, with a prison officer called Sarah Williams. Now, there is a lot coming out about Sarah Williams as well, I seen an article yesterday that I was having a look on, saying that she was going with several different prisoners. Wow, what a lady. She was going with several different prisoners, and obviously there was evidence on her phone that she was actually going with Elias Morgan. So Elias Morgan, this trial has been ongoing for a lot of weeks, and a couple of people did ask us during it, could I cover it? I did have a look into it, but I thought, obviously, trials like this, an ongoing murder trial, you don't want to be talking about things in between or as it is ongoing, especially with someone who was an ex-prisoner and obviously took the life of a prison officer. So yeah, I've got to be careful what you say on here, people, because some people might get offended and some people might not like what's going on. So there was also obviously Elias Morgan. There was two defendants were actually on trial for this murder, and his friend Anthony Cleary was found not guilty of both murder and manslaughter. But during the trial, Anthony Cleary had actually turned on his defendant, which, by the way, people, if you are in that sort of game and you're watching this is what actually happens. This happens 9 times out of 10 if you're on trial with people who you are your associates or so-called friends or even best friends. Believe you me, when you get to trial, they will turn on you to save their own arses. So if you are in that game, that's one of the things you want to think about before you do go too far, get involved in something like this. You will be ratted out by your pals. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the case here. So Cleary had been accused of supporting Morgan's murder plan by delivering a getaway van on an electric bike to the scene of the shooting, but told the jury he had no idea his close friend was planning on shooting anyone. Obviously, going off what's happened in court, Elias is getting his pal to drop the van off and drop the bike. There's a Surround bike in the back of the van. The jury heard at the time of the shooting, Morgan was out of prison after completing a sentence for drug offences. He was rearrested on suspicion of possessing the phone in prison and was on bail ahead of trial scheduled for 11 days. So the phone in question is a phone that obviously Lenny Scott, the prison officer, the jury heard the discovery of the phone in the HMP Altcourse, Liverpool, exposed an sexual relationship between Morgan and the prison officer. And obviously Lenny Scott had found the phone and obviously went to the governors, went to whoever afterwards, told them all about it. And Elias was trying to bribe him, £1,500 bribe, which he wouldn't take. And whatever else happened after that. And he did, since he didn't take that bribe, because it says the jury heard the sequence of events that led to the murder began on the 26th of March when Mr. Scott refused a cash bribe to lose the phone found in Morgan's cell. And at the time, Mr. Scott told his father, Neil Scott, that Elias had said to him, "I'll bide my time, but I promise I'll get you," before making a gun gesture with his fingers. In the days that followed, Mr. Scott became increasingly afraid and reported further threats to both prison management and to Merseyside police. Now, there is some phone records, obviously, from the phone call that he had made to the emergency services, saying that he was in fear of his life. So Elias was actually moved to a different wing 10 days after the discovery of the phone, and the threats to Lenny Scott appeared to end. In 2021, Mr. Scott was sacked from the prison service after punching a prisoner while attempting to restrain him. That prisoner was found to have no involvement in anything that happened subsequently. The jury heard Lenny Scott moved on with his life and found work at a warehouse in Warrington. But in early 2024, Elias appeared to be planning to strike. Detectives at Lancashire Police found evidence that on the 3rd of January that year, Elias was scoping out places linked to Mr. Scott. The killer drove close to Mr. Scott's home in Prescot, Merseyside, a gym in the Speak area of Liverpool, where he sometimes trained at, and the gym on Peel Road, Skelmersdale, where the shooting would later take place. So this is where all of this was unfolding, and all of this was because of what happened in the prison. Obviously, if Elias was in the jail, and obviously seems to have been, if he's got phones, he's having a relationship with the prison officer, he's obviously got a custody, and he's been enjoying himself inside a prison, enjoying himself a little bit too much, obviously with the female prison officer, getting screwed. And obviously he's got a phone, and Lenny Scott has actually came into the pad and found the phone and disrupted his prison life when he's had it so custody. And obviously he's went on and made them threats to him. And then Lenny Scott has been sacked for punching another prisoner. So this is something I am going to say as well. I'm surprised these type of offences don't happen, or they probably do, they're just not reported on as much, because there's any amount of prison officers who purposely, I'm not saying Lenny Scott did, but purposely go out the way to taunt prisoners, totally regarding or forgetting the fact that one day these prisoners are going to be free men out on the streets who could bump into them. And there is any amount, on a daily basis, threats get made to the prison officers. The prison officers are making the prisoners' lives misery sometimes. Sometimes depending on the prisoners. Sometimes some of the prisoners bring it on themselves. And they're getting tortured off the screws. They turn round, tell the screws, listen, I'm going to be out one day. This is going to happen to you. I'm going to do this. The screws normally just laugh it off, shrug it off. But in this case, it's obviously, he's took it very, very personal, obviously. And the disruption of his relationship with that prison officer and the disruption of taking the phone, and whether, obviously, he was in prison for drug offences. So whatever has been going on with that phone, whether or not he's just been using it to have his late night phone calls with the prison officers, his late night, what should we describe it as? His late night, what do you call that? Trying to think what it was that used to be on late at night. Not that I ever watched it, mind. Used to be on the telly where he used to phone in and speak to the women. He's obviously disrupted his late night shenanigans on the phone, and he's took it very personal. But when you have a look at the picture of Elias Morgan there, he's got killer eyes. He's got that look on his face. He's like that. And he, obviously, if it was him that done it, he's been found guilty. This is what he's actually went on and done. He's followed through with his threats. But like I've said, these threats happen on a daily basis. But it did say that something to do with the phone that was found. He was due to go on trial. So I can't find anything further on that. But normally if you get found with a phone inside of prison, you just get a nick and you don't go on trial for it. But 11 days after this murder, there was meant to be a trial, I believe it said, from the research that I was doing. There was meant to be a trial going ahead. 11 days after this murder was committed. So whether or not Lenny Scott was a witness, well, he would have been a witness in that trial, and then the witness has been eliminated so that nothing happens with that trial. Not looking at the bigger picture, thinking about the trial that you're going to be having for Lenny Scott's life. And he is up for sentencing, I believe it says, on September the 2nd, which is today, actually. I thought it was the 1st, but when I've just looked, he's actually up for sentencing today. So I should have waited, because it is actually only 9 o'clock in the morning, and I've just realised as I'm doing this video, what a wally, I should have waited till later on, but never mind, the video has been well underway. But I will put it in the comment section, and I will put it in the description about the sentence that he gets. But I do believe if you take someone's life with a gun, it is life with a minimum of 30 years. That's the starting point. So for this, I dare say he'll be getting life with a minimum of 35 years. So we will see exactly what happens and what sentence he got. But like I say, or like I am going to say now, this video is getting uploaded without doing any edits, because I am quite busy today. I've done this video as soon as I possibly could when I had the time. But like I just said, I've just went and fucking looked, and it's the 2nd today, so he is getting sentenced today. So by the time this video is on and you're watching it, he will have been sentenced. So I will put it in the description, people, so do not worry about that. But I will keep you updated on further stories regarding the prison. But like I said, I am surprised, or there will be rather, I'm not surprised, there will be other attacks like this on prison officers outside of prison. Because like I've said, you get that small minority that go out the way to piss the prisoners off, and they forget, the prison officers get set in their ways, and they forget that one day these men, or even the women, are going to be free. And a lot of them that are in the local prisons, they're from the local area. They're going to bump into them at some point. And I do know of a few cases myself. I know of somebody, or a prison officer, who was out with a group of friends on the drink, and somebody seen him who this prison officer had give him a lot of grief whilst he was in prison. He made his prison life hard. He might have forgotten about it, this certain ex-prisoner, when he was out, but he's bumped into him when he was pissed up, seen him, and give him it. So that's another thing for these prison officers to think about as well. Don't get set in your ways. Think about that one day these prisoners could come back and retaliate and do something to you. So it's a bit of education for the would-be prisoner and the prison officer in this video. For the ones out committing these offences or gone out in the gangster lifestyle, think about when you get caught, because you will eventually. The law of averages, you don't get away with it. Everybody gets caught in the end. But if you're up on trial with someone, even someone you regard as a best friend, believe you me, they will turn on you. Happened to me when I was 20-year-old, when I was up on my GBH charge, what I got IPP for. The lad that was the getaway driver ended up grassing us up. And that was a lad I grew up with from a very young age. So there we go, people. That's what happens. So there's the little bit of advice for the ones that are out committing these offences, and the advice for the prison officers, like I've just said. Remember, one day these lads are going to be free and they might bum into you, so give them a little bit more respect than what they deserve, because you don't want to be getting caught up in a dark alley one night, do you? Anyways, I'm going to leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you are enjoying the content. If you are wanting to buy any of the merchandise, the links are all there. My book, Behind the Bars Ruthless Fitness, what I wrote whilst in prison, which teaches you how to better yourself both physically, or betters yourself both physically and mentally, is on offer on my ebook. You can actually buy that book, get it downloaded to your phone or your tablet or your computer, wherever you want it, and you've got it there. It's on offer for £4.50, people. So the links are in the description there, but I will be doing more videos. Stay safe, people. Stay tuned. Watch out. Take care and have a good day.